Nigeria was never meant to work. Nigeria was an experiment between a man and his girlfriend. We're fornicating. You can never achieve anything under sin. Food will make a thief of any man.
You're not the victims, sir. The victims are the people.
I do not want to be doing. Who want to budget here?
All the celebrities that are coming out singing the tune of violence. It's clear that people are reading off the same script.
Like what people said, more protest me, more broke me. You see Dangote in the protest?
Burna, first of all, is a private citizen. Nobody voted for Burna Boy. All I care, he can stay inside and smoke his weed and do whatever he wants to do.
Now he's going to now change his lyrics and only sing about love and Shayo.
May the ancestors be with him. May the gods go with him. You could barely hear him. They had a southern accent. Man, fuck that shit. Because Africa, you the Chris, is that white man savior mentality. And Jesus isn't white. Don't even let us go there. Okay, she has XY, which she knows. But she was born a woman, but she don't get Bobby. I'm sorry, no disrespect. So why don't go fight actual men?
Maybe because they have more features that are feminine.
No, but Castor Semenya can pass like my big brother. You know that, right? You know, I'm on a bros, but I'm a senior man. No?
It's time for Trybe Africa. We're going to get right into it. The very first story is about the Nigerian protest. The End Bad Governance protest. You may know it by the hashtag End Bad Governance or the hashtag End Bad Governance in Nigeria. So the protest intensified very quickly. Day one, the very first day, what was supposed to be a peaceful protest turned violent, and it's no thanks to the Nigerian army and the police suppressing protesters. After 3 days of nationwide protests, the president finally addressed Nigerians. By the way, the speech was leaked even before the president gave the speech.
I think every Nigerian government frowns at protest. I don't know what the scare is, but it seems like there's just this, fear of revolution, so to speak, from protests. And so Nigerians have also grown to view protest as something that's dreadful and should not be done.
There's a very, very funny angle to it. The speech leaked some hours to the speech to whenever Baba gave the speech.
Maybe they wanted to give us expo,
This is the thing, you see, everything with Nigeria has to do with expo. If you're writing JAMB results used to leak. JAMB answers used to leak. If you've written JAMB in Nigeria, the result they leak. I'm telling you. During that one time during Buhari's regime, one of his speeches also leaked. So we're used to leaking things. Something must leak.
I think the little that I know from politics generally in Nigeria, I feel most times these things are deliberate. We only call it leaks, yes, because everything there has to be a distraction.
I think that was just recklessness.
No, I don't think it's recklessness. You cannot be reckless with the president.
But to what end would they leak it for? I mean, like, to what end? At the end of the day, people are still angry that when he gave the speech, he didn't make any concrete concessions or agreements or even try to appease the guys or appease people, appease us Nigerians. All he kept saying was that we're doing this, Dangote refinery, NNPC, this and that. These are things that we already know. We've heard about these things. And they've not yielded any results.
It makes him look even worse. Yes. Your speech is not even heartfelt.
Pretty much all what people are saying is that they just want to feel like you hear them, basically. They're not trying to become a magician overnight. If you engage with them and you talk with them and they see that you're making steps towards actually actualizing the things that you tell them that you do, they will give you a breather. Protests make them really hear the people that we've been saying this individually, but now we're coming as a group. However, knowing how Nigeria is structured, you probably get convention started, but at the end of the day, this convention will start, we didn't get to a logical end. I'm sorry to say this, Nigeria was never meant to work. Nigeria was an experiment, between, a man and his girlfriend. They were fornicating, and a queen that sent them. Muslims, Christians, idol worshippers, the traditional African traditional, they know that sin, you can never achieve anything under sin. What can you achieve under sin? Just think about that. Even the Catholics will tell you that you were born in sin. You were conceived in sin. So you have to go get through baptism. Nigeria has not been baptized. Nigeria was built to pay. We're just here patching it. Wherever we push and reach, more they carry they go. And that's what Tinubu is doing. Who want to budget here?
Whenever you have agitated citizens, number one, the most important part of it is to be responsible. The second one, which sometimes I think could come before the first, depending on how responsible the government was, is to be responsive. A lot of governments struggle to be responsible, and in many times they are not responsive. Nigerians, irrespective of whatever measures, because I've heard all kinds of theories from defenders of this government saying, oh, they're working on long-term consolidation. You have to feel the effects short term for those gains. Yeah, we're not a long-term nation. We're not a nation that plans over 30 years. We always have Vision 2010, Vision 2020, Vision 20. We just put all those visions in place. We do not implement, we do not facilitate, we do not carry out any form of reorientation. People don't believe in this government. This government had a lot of question marks before they even started. So there is a high chance that people based their disgust with the process that brought this government in may not see whatever this government is doing. But the government itself has been unable to communicate to Nigerians. Things have gone the opposite direction. Nobody can afford food. I now hear stories of Nigerians stealing food while people are cooking. People that were formerly known as hardworking men and women have now resorted to begging. There's pressure everywhere. How does a nation lose grip of itself in less than a year?
When people holler at you now from Nigeria and go, "How are you?" What do you say?
All of us, they manage.
My brother, I do. What do you have with my brother? I just do. If you talk loud, if let's say your voice gets strength, let's say this guy money day hand.
Money day hand.
You don't ask people how are you.
It's a dangerous question to ask.
I know how you are.
To be honest with
you. How are you? I know how you are. No, I don't ask you.
It's dangerous. Do not bother about. It may seem cold, but it's a question that could set you up.
Wow.
Yeah, because there are people that also struggle with their inability to say no. Especially when somebody that to be a very strong man, that he struggles, he works hard, he strives to feed his family, and that person is telling you, "Hey, bros, I haven't fed my kids." How do you reconcile that reality with the version of them that you know?
People are being stripped of their dignity.
Yes, and food will make a thief of any man.
I heard that some housewife now that they go play away my God, Baba money no deal.
The fact that you're unable to provide, it takes your voice. There's a Yoruba proverb that says, I'll translate. It says, "Omo shagbafo, o kwashawale." You have a child who doesn't run a laundromat, but every time he comes home with clothes, it's either stealing them or something. But parents have lost the voice to ask children, what are you doing? Where are you getting money from because of poverty?
So for me, I do appreciate that the president condemned the violence, the bigotry. I like that he talked about what his administration has done in different sectors. For me, the speech was giving re-election campaign speech. You know what I mean? I get it. You want the people to know that you're working for them. However, how have these moves met the immediate need of the masses, right? You can't talk about how you have made life easier for Nigerians, but the starvation is so thick that it is depressing. And for many people, obviously, if you bring back fuel subsidy, a lot of things will come down, the price of food and everything. When you start talking about destruction of properties, it's like you're still blaming protest organizers. The president was sounding like a victim. People who with political ambitions who want to hijack this, and you know what I mean? You're not the victims, sir. The victims are the people who are having to wonder how they will make ends meet, how they will be able to feed. He did empathize, with those who got killed, because you can't deny this one. We saw that people got killed. All this talk, all these distractions, all these theatrics need to be contained. People literally died. All the celebrities that are coming out, all the public figures that are coming out singing the tune of violence. It's clear that people are reading off the same script. It's clear that you were asked to say whatever the heck you're saying. Have you talked about the people who got killed? The entire time you haven't come out to speak for Nigerians, but you're concerned about violence and properties being destroyed.
Nigerians as a people, why are we naturally saboteurs? Why?
Because we're not united, we're not the same people.
So there's no way.
So I was telling you that Nigeria was formed to.
Yes, I won't defend this government. I will not defend any of their policies. I will not defend anything that they're trying to say, because I'm just going to speak from a very, very independent place of analysis. As a saboteur, your primary goal is to make whatever is designed to work fail. And that's why we are having issues with fuel subsidy, because a lot of people decided to use that as a conduit for enriching themselves at the expense of normal Nigerians. Let's even assume that the government decides to implement or put in place measures to deal with these concerns that Nigerians have around cost of living. Okay, what do we do? One, put in plus, policies around food, agriculture, importation, some of the things that put stress on the dollar or naira. Is there any solution that the government can proffer now? They've done well with increasing minimum wage to 70,000, but the cost of governance is so high and completely at variance with the reality of Nigerians. Imagine Nigerians protesting and the Senate president is saying he's going to be home watching. And everybody talks about peace, as the end result. But many places in this world today where there's peace, it was attained with violence. It's such a paradox that you have to use violence to get peace. What happened to Mahatma Gandhi? His approach was different, but still there's poverty in India. Nigerians are our major problem as a country. There's a protest, a genuine protest to speak to bad governance, and yet some people are collecting money to have a protest saying there should be no protest. How does it help me make it make sense?
Let's now talk about Burna Boy. Still speaking of protests, Nigerian international singer Burna Boy weighed in on the End Bad Governance protest happening in Nigeria. After repeated calls from fans and internet users, he explained that the fight in him died on this day. Then he made a reference to the day some people at the EndSARS protest in 2020 said they wanted to cancel him, very likely because some felt he wasn't speaking up against SARS. After someone reminded him that he had called himself the African Giant, he stated that he had passed the title to Fowls the Bad Guy, who is another singer and who also does a lot of activism. In a new video circulating online, Burna Boy clarified the public's misconception of him as an activist, saying he ain't no activist. What are your thoughts?
So Burna, first of all, is a private citizen. Yes, he's famous, he got money, he got influence, However, if a man like Burna Boy says, look, I don't want to be a part of this, nobody voted for Burna Boy, from the emotional perspective, because people love him, because he has a huge following, because he has some level of respect, international community, Nigerian community, even if he calls himself, I'm the African president, or I'm the African king, that does not still give us a right to say that he must be a part of the protest. For all I care, he can stay in his house and smoke his weed and do whatever he wants to do. Now, however, his approach to it, is what will matter, because at the end of the day, right, yes, you're a private citizen, but you need these people to still stream your music. Burna Boy over time kind of maybe unknowingly, or I think deliberately, made himself the poster boy for liberation of the African youth. But then when it comes to do the work, to not do the work of people that have told that part, people that have taken that route in the past, then you're nowhere to be found. You're behind your keypad, smoking weed and telling that, hey, the fight in me died. Bro, his approach and manner to handling this kind of thing is 0.000%.
Sometimes Burna comes across as being cocky, and I think a little bit of PR management will address that.
I think actually he is.
I believe that talent that he has requires some level of cockiness to blossom. I may be wrong, but I think the creativity that comes at that level requires a little bit of not being normal. However, we should not try to make everybody an activist. Music is a profession. The fact that you've risen to the pinnacle of your career does not automatically make you a social critic or something like that. There are people who do this for a living. At the end of the day, Gani Fahimi lost an election in Nigeria to be president, and he spent his entire life fighting as an activist. When we look at the labor of heroes past and how they've been rewarded, there's nothing really encouraging to make you want to put down whatever it is for Nigeria. And Nigerians will cancel you if they have to. Like what people said, more protest here, more broke man mentality, they protest. But the low ones in Richmond, what you see Dangote they protest? You see Dangote no go ask you, say what's wrong with Nigeria? Then what's wrong with my business? Mind your business. So again,
I can't believe we're quoting Portable, but shout out Portable be dropping
as crazy as he may appear to be, he says some things that I find very interesting.
I guess he needed to explain where he was and where he stood, and he's made it very clear. So people should leave him alone. He doesn't want the pressure of activism. Let's free him. I do believe in his heart. He means well for Nigerians and he wants the best for Nigerians. But I think Burna is the kind of person, Burna is a very reactionary, reacts to things.
And he doesn't forget.
He doesn't forget. forget. Burna does not forget.
Someone said on Twitter that Burna Boy is not protesting now. After the protest now, you're not going to write song. Then killing my people. Okay, go protest.
No, if that's his medium, then allow him to express himself.
In fairness, to your point, Habib, Fela was an activist, right? His mom was in the streets. Fela's activism was mostly through his music. So perhaps that's the path Burna wants to toe, and we should just free him. But when we start, now he's going to now change his lyrics and only sing about love and Shayo.
You know, and that's what everybody wants to hear, though.
No, but we love his activism stuff too. I remember Yawa Deo from long ago. He was on something.
Back in the day, man. May the ancestors be with him. May the gods go with him.
So when law student Chidinma Adesina became a Miss South Africa finalist, a Nigerian heritage sparked what some have termed a xenophobic backlash. Despite being born in Soweto and raised in Cape Town, critics questioned her South African identity. Social media attacks and a petition calling for her removal highlighted the country's underlying xenophobia, specifically Afrophobia. What are your thoughts?
Nigerians always have this attitude of being united when we're attacking other nationals. If we're reacting to how the South Africans have decided to treat this lady, what about Gbadebo Rhodes? Bible. We tore that man into shreds because he has a mother from the East and a father from... So if we can do that to in Nigeria, why are we surprised or suddenly forgetful of the things that we've done and expect differently from South Africans who typically do not hide their xenophobia? They don't hide it. They do it to neighboring Zimbabweans, let alone, their taunted history with Nigerians. So why are we surprised? Why do we think they should act differently when we've exhibited the same? We do it every day.
Actually, the black man don't like themselves normally. You understand? And there's a lot that goes into the psychology of the black mind, and there's a lot of so much disconnect. Some people tell you that, oh, maybe from slavery or maybe before slavery, some people were treated fairly, some people were treated wrongly, and we're always in competition. Oh, okay, that guy's getting all the good stuff. Nigeria, fighting against, as well, Lagosians, I would say, not even the old man, fighting against Gbadebo was uncalled for. It was not necessary. It was appalling. It was disgusting to watch and see. And now this young lady in South Africa, born and raised over there, from what I read, is being attacked. You see, oftentimes, like, we live at the actual enemy, whoever brought division amongst us, and we start to fight ourselves. For me, I wait for the black race, because I don't know if we can ever get to a point where we can maybe get ourselves together, or have this common sense that, look, man, I'm not your enemy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going through struggle as a black person. I'm going through struggle as a black person. Someone like Chidinma being attacked, she's been assaulted literally, like, psychologically, and people are writing all kind of things about her. It's uncalled for. It's wrong. As one thing I know about South Africans, that they're quite volatile. I used to tell myself before now that, man, I'll just go over there, maybe like stay for like 2-3 years. But now I don't even want to go there because I know how they treat foreigners. They just have this, especially if you're black or from a different African country, the actual plunderers and ruiners and destroyers that have ruined their land and ruined their people, and really abused them for centuries. They barely have anything against these people, We are our own biggest threat, actually. So the black race going extinct is going to be from the black community. On the ladder, right, they're number 4. They're only 4% of the land of the whole of South Africa. Actual South Africans, it's owned by colored Indians, the Boers, these are the Dutch guys, and they are number 4, So in your own land, they own only about 4% of the whole land in South Africa. And Nigerians, of course, they're not even on that ladder at all. So you're not bothered about people that are owning your land. And whoever owns the land of a place is the landlord, and whoever is a landlord, is the owner of the place, right? I'm
being very careful because, man, I've been seeing your comments, even on my post. I'm like, I don't hate you guys. I actually do I have good friends some of my very good friends are from South Africa. So I absolutely love SA, but I just feel sometimes there's this being on the defense, and sometimes I just want you to hear us out. Let's actually listen to one another. I saw videos and comments where it now became a thing where it was like Nigerians are this, Nigerians are that, and of course Nigerians are returning in, South Africans are this, South Africans are that. It's so heartbreaking to see and hear. My recommendation is just don't generalize.
To be honest, They sometimes have valid concerns.
I get that, but you
You
cannot
know,
generalize.
I cannot.
No.
It still does not make it right for them to treat Chidinma the way they've done. It still does not justify xenophobia in any way. It still does not justify how, to Kabuchi's point, that they see any other Black person as the main person stifling their growth or dominance or hold on their economic activities or, strength. The major concern with South Africans is displacement, and they get further agitated when that displacement is supposedly coming from a fellow Black person. These are some of the triggers. So the questions we need to, and Gloria has been doing a lot of good work with telling African stories. And I think in one of your
Gloria's a legend. We gotta give her, man.
Yes, you got Barry Flowers.
You know that
He's giving you what you need. I'm an Afro optimist. I believe in one Africa.
Most of our leaders that lead and manage the affairs of Africa, there's a status quo that Africa must maintain. This was what I told one guy when I was working somewhere before here in America. He said, "Good time." I said, "I can barely understand you either. You want to get a pen and paper?" He was looking at me like, "Yeah, you want to get a pen and paper, like, right?" Because he was trying to be funny. I could barely hear him either. He had a southern accent. Man, fuck that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I try for real. No, not the guy. Not start your bands come. You don't the vest. My body don't the hot already. I don't the binu. I don't the. That's not the. I been go. Ghetto boy. My body don't the hot. You see, you get a good now. Go work. Go as I go wait for your car park. More fight ourselves. I come up for this work. so I told them, look, don't get a pen and paper. The same. It was that same job. It was at that same job that someone told me one more like I was trying to log into the computer. I was like, you sure you can get into that, like, can you hear operator? So I looked at it, I was like, do you know if this laptop goes back, I can actually fix it? Have you ever fixed the laptop your whole life? And the other while it was looking at me like this. And actually true. I don't work for computer village. Like, you fix laptop. Not be joking. No. Mark will leave this because in Africa you don't crazy. I said, do you know if this thing goes back, I can actually fix it? Can you fix it? Have you ever fixed the laptop? Is that I didn't mean like that? I said, yeah, I don't mean like that either. It's that white man savior mentality. So we need to be uneducated to be re-educated. That look, at the end of the day, yes, this people came and plundered my continent and all of that. It's 2024 now. What are we doing to help us, forget about this kind of mindset that we must always see them as some kind of savior? And Jesus isn't white. Don't even let us go there.
Let's go to the next story. The Women's Olympic boxing gender controversy.
Day after the controversial boxing match between Algerian boxer Iman Khalif and Italian boxer Angela Carini, officials from the International Olympic Committee continue to defend their decision to allow Khalif to fight a woman. Khalif was born a girl, but reportedly has XY chromosomes. On social media, these are some of the comments. XY is male. XX is a female. She is a dude. Unfair advantage to that poor woman.
That woman should not be fighting a woman. Now, you might ask me, so what's she gonna do? She's an athlete. She needs to compete, right? People like that should have a special category. Trust me, the world has the money and they have the mechanism to do these things. This is the world that is telling us that men and not women from transgender, they can't have a category for these guys. They can't have a category for them. And we'll watch. Yeah. There are quite a few of them. There are hermaphrodites. They should have a category for all those group of people and leave actual women for women. We'll watch them. We'll support them. We know that it is what it is. They didn't make themselves. It's a biological situation. We even bet on top themselves, carry 2/4. You understand? Who believe in them? She could have as well gone to fight an actual man. Look at it this way now. You follow me? So she decided, she felt like, okay, here it will be easier for her to become a star. Okay, she has XY, which she knows, but she was born a woman, but she don't get Bobby. I'm sorry, no disrespect. So why not go fight actual men? Because they go beat them. Because if you look at it right, because she's born a woman and she has XY, it's not a balance. Her chromosomes are not balanced in a way, right? So it's like 50. So she's not a full man. She's not a full woman. So why did she decide to choose women? Why did she decide to fight a woman? Why not go and fight a man? Because she knows that women will be easier to win and get a medal. Leave actual women for women and leave actual men for men. This girl beat this girl. This man beat. Sure. Or I mean, yeah, there's a lady called Caster Semenya. in South Africa. You put another lady with the wrong.
South African athlete. I was about to mention her name as well. In the US, we have a lot of transgender female compete with. It's so political these days, you know, with using the right choice of term for people's genders and all that. But
pronouns and the adjectives.
There are so many instances where people who were born as men have chosen to become women, and they compete in women's sports, and the wall does not crumble. They go ahead. I do feel there's some level of unfair advantage because of the body the body structure. However, these things happen. But the moment it has to do with Africans, it becomes a problem. You know, Castor that you spoke about, the lady who used to run for South Africa, she was born a woman, but the same imbalance of hormones put her in a situation of chromosomes, put her in a situation whereby she had more male features than female.
So she could have just run with the men.
It presented her with an advantage because they also cannot compete as men.
So what made them not choose women?
Maybe because they have more features that are feminine.
No, but Castor can pass like my big brother. You know that, right? You know, I'm on a bros, but I'm a senior man. No, I swear to God, if Castor hold you, if Castor hold you for corner, as you did, she go low. See you. You ain't go tell low. You go blast now iron hit you. See what I do you? Wait, well, now elder. Why she no wrong with the same boat?
Testing just two women because one looks maybe more manly, and then you test them and you see that this one has a higher testosterone level, and then it brings all these conversations about XY chromosomes. Are you testing all the women that are boxing? Just what I'm saying. So basically you go based on what somebody looks like, and then you set that person aside, and then she's being put on this. I'm not even here to decide whether or not she should be qualified, but all I can say is it's a unique situation, and I feel really sorry for her because the backlash has been too intense. That was our sports segment. The entertainment. I'm reading from the Rolling Stone.
The Rolling Stone featured Onyeka?
Yes.
That's some legendary shit, my nigga.
Yes. The Rolling Stone talked about how she had a storied career across Nigerian entertainment, media, and politics, and her dying at the age of 72 in Lagos. I haven't heard the story. Basically, Onyeka was at her last performance, drank some water when she went back to her seat, slumped, and then they rushed her to the hospital, and unfortunately, they couldn't resuscitate her and she died. But we just wanted to recognize the icon, the legend.
Yeah. We've seen footballers, athletes slump and die. Cardiac arrest can happen to you at any time. There are no guarantees. I know that sometimes we just try to make sure that, you know, we eat healthy, we exercise regularly, but checkups cannot be ruled out. Again, it doesn't still rule out the possibility that, you know, cardiac can show up at any time in handcuffs and just arrest you.
Us as African, especially, like most of our food, you know, not cholesterol attacker. All this our palm oil, ororo, all those things there. It's not. It makes our cholesterol go high, and it's not good. You know, these things clog the arteries, and the blood can't flow right, and heart attack. You know, we black people, man.